Let's just skip to that part.
And let's just say this. So now that we've talked about polygamy, what happens to those men who don't get women because all the women have decided to go to certain men?
That's literally the circle of life as it's always been. There's nothing. We are trying to solve an unsolvable problem, because when you look at the stats for the percentage of men that have not procreated in history, it's astounding. Like, most women have never found all men attractive or wanted to help them continue their bloodline. So it's just nature taking its natural course.
I mean, there's that, but like there's like the growth of the incel community, right? Which is also increasingly becoming more violent. I think, and I really hate to give him credit for this, but I think Chaotic was onto something when he was talking about these sex robots, right? I think that could be the thing that appeases the incel community. They might not be able to pass on their genealogy, but
wait, explain that. You said I didn't hear it. What is
Have you seen some of them robots?
Oh, sex robots. Okay.
Sex robots, yes. So they may not be able to pass on their genealogy, but they still would have access to sex, which would therefore make them less violent, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that's kind of the trade-off at this point, where they might be frustrated, but we can kind of like simmer that frustration below the boiling point.
Yeah, but
that is
okay.
genius.
Let's look at how. Let's take this piece. Let's picture this for a second, Oz. You go to Jake's house. Jake has a doll who is his companion. Okay, which is kind of weird because we see that people have videos. It's a little weird, okay? And then he had, because it's more than just sex. Because even if people are jumping from sex to sex, they're looking for companionship too, even if it's for a night. You feel me? So now this doll is not only the person he's having sex with. He's got in his head, he's been, that this doll is taking human form because it just to make him feel better about the situation, basically the companion part. And so he's cuddling this doll at night, like. I don't know that that's going.
Here's my thing, right? Here's my thing is I would rather that than that man be on the front page of a newspaper or plastered all over social media because he was so frustrated he decided to unalive a bunch of women.
Yeah.
The doll is way less weird than a man who's reached so much frustration that he's enacting actual violence against real women.
Yeah. So not only is it, so when we talk about that and we joke about that online, I always kind of cringe, because when women talk about men unaliving women and whoop-de-whoop, I was like, y'all read your history. This stuff has always happened, because the outlet, what we have now is an imbalance that men that actually qualify for women. In the past, women are overlooking those types. The everything that we're talking about, the aggression of men, the savagery of men, you're basically just talking about the nature of men. Men having like sometimes I wish we could create some kind of video or mixed reality, virtual reality situation where a woman can experience the libido of a man and the way that shit is coursing through his body. I work from home. I sit here and get upset that I'm sitting here working and I'm horny as shit and got to call my wife home from work early. That shit bothers me. Can't even focus. I wish women could feel like you. I wish you could feel that running through your body. Then I thought, I have literally a snap of a finger way to deal with that all the time in live action. What about the dudes that don't? Would that ability ever turn into physical aggression, resentment, hatred for the women that are rejecting them? Absolutely it would. And that shit is natural. That's why I'm like, yo, society got to focus on a way to alleviate that from men, because you can shame it all you want. That shit's still going to go down. They're going to start putting spears through people in this motherfucker. So that should be priority one.
They have
check the back chat.
Check the back chat. Sex workers.
Yeah.
So Marcus and I were watching a video the other day of like this woman talking about, you need to Cash App me, PayPal me $500 before we go on a date. Like sex work and dating have now blurred the lines, right? And so it is, but like some people think that that's how you date, right? And so we could say utilize sex work But if there's no clear distinction between sex work and viable partners, I think that's like really shaky ground to put somebody in, right?
Well, let me just tell you this: if a woman is asking you to send her money, she's not into you like that. I'm just telling you, she's just not into you. Not yet. Now she could be later on. But at this very given moment, she's not into you like that. So you can look at it. Please move accordingly. Just saying.
Did you check the back chat?
I did. I told you. If she came up, what's your question? I told you that's fine. You can drop the link. Give it me. But I get what you're saying. But the good thing about it is now they get real women who down for it. They ain't gotta go to a prostitute. She's going to date now. It was like, cash at me.
Yeah, I
I'll
think it's
hug
a
you a few
temporary
times.
fix. I don't think that is something that's sustainable because you get a whole bunch of counterfeit stuff and it's just not gonna do. Like, especially if you already had sex. Now, I understand for the brothers that never had sex before, like, you know, they might be okay with that. But like a brother that's had sex before, there's nothing like the real thing. Nobody wants imitation anything. If you got imitation crab versus actually having a real king crab, this is a very different experience. Or you got impossible meat versus real meat, very different experiences. So I don't
HD,
It's
think
having a woman to
it's gonna
love you.
last.
It's nothing like having a woman
hold-
to love you.
let me ask you this. HD, do you think women are more valuable than just sex?
Yeah.
It's a lot of the men who can't, like, if you listen to some of the arguments, they don't really see that connection. For
Yeah.
them, that might be like a viable solution.
Well, here's
Because
the thing. Guys always see women as sex first and the other stuff after. Because and all the stuff that they're willing to do for women, sex is going to be a part of the equation at some point in their mind. But talking to a woman, you ever talk to a woman? Well, not you specifically.
We
When
know
you
he's talking
talk
to
to
women.
women enough, right? When you talk to women enough, right? You find when you're talking to a woman that's actually decent, respectable, honorable, pleasant, you know, these women are smart. Like, think about it. How did all these women survive this long, not getting all these fights with all these dudes? Because a lot of women are smart. And if you listen to women long enough, you can learn something. Now, granted, a lot of women are very easily strayed by their emotions, cool, whatever. But the simple fact of the matter is like women have perspective, women have emotions, feelings, and like there's certain things that women present that makes you want to take care of them. You want to do right by some of these women that are respectable, that are caring, that are loving, nurturing, and all these things. However, there are also the women that aren't caring or respectable or honorable or reasonable or listen. It's like these are the things that make men not want to deal with women. Like if he can't even have a casual, cool conversation with a woman, just off of like just simple like shooting the breeze. Like that's is the easiest thing to make a lot of brothers like just go through the roof. Now, in defense of women, there are a lot of brothers that don't have enough experience with women that they don't understand that they can't be as entitled to certain things just because they're a man and that they're talking to a woman. Like, if you don't understand that women have the right to do what they want, that they're able to engage in a relationship or decide not to engage into a relationship, that they're able to have a conversation with you and not want to be with you, like, you got to understand that like as you continue to go through life you'll just learn that you are not entitled to people. You do not own people. People have the right and the ability to make their own decisions, live their own life. And I think that like when men haven't dealt with enough women, they think that because I did XYZ, this means that I should get this, and that's not actually the case.
I 100% agree with you. And that's why when I was saying yesterday, I was conflicted between because I think somebody recommended that it's best for a man to stay a virgin meet a woman as a virgin and marry them together. But what you're talking about is one of the things I was hinting at yesterday when I was saying that I I have the ability to understand those concepts. You have the ability to understand those concepts. It came from dealing with women, right? It didn't come just you just knew it and then it made you equipped. Like I've been saying all night, it's a skill set. I don't know how you would competently create and foster that skill set without going through that process. Like I just don't know what that looks like.
I agree. Like a lot of on the job training is necessary for you to even gain the skill set, which is why I think Inaz alludes to if you have one successful relationship or successful marriage, it can probably show that you have the ability to deal with multiple to some degree, right? But even so, there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be a learning curve because my biggest argument and roadblock to polygamy in general is the fact that you have to have multiple people on one accord and of the same mind. Because how can two walk together unless they agree? If y'all don't have a base fundamental agreement as far as an understanding of how this is supposed to go, there is no way possible that it makes logical sense to me that if y'all fundamentally do not believe that this should be a thing, how it could ever work. Which is why I say, like in the US, it makes very little sense to me to believe that women are just gonna all of a sudden want to share men voluntarily as far as in a marriage. Because a lot of times women just want to get what they want now and just go on about their business just like the men. But when we're talking about a legitimate, I'm married to you and you're married and he's also married to this other person here, typically women ain't trying to do that. Not in
So
America
I
because
think
it's
so
that
not
so
happening.
I think that let me just say
Agree.
this real fast because I'll forget. I don't think that that's true. I think that the reason they look down on it is because when it comes to now is because there's only one spot. Okay, so she's my competition for that one spot. I think that if it
yeah.
were open to say that there are two spots, I think that women. I listen. I could be wrong. And if
You're
it were
right.
decently, if it was something that everybody society approved, I think that women would think, okay, he got two spots. I think the only reason why we're the way that we are is because you're competing for that one spot. Everybody wants to be the wife. You understand what I'm saying? So it looks that way. There's competition because you're like, that's my spot. But if there were more spots available, I do think that some women, if it means that I'm going to get the guy that I want, not the one that I need and I want, I think they'll go for it.
Now, I think so. I'm 100% in agreement with that, HD.